Hey guys, welcome back. I'm so excited to be doing my second sketchbook tour with y'all. And also I just wanted to give masking tape a shout out. This video is brought to you by masking tape since I apparently broke my little attachment to my ring light. Now, just FYI, I also messed up recording the audio. I don't know what happened to it. I was speaking through what you can visually see here, but of course, I don't know what I'm doing very much, and I lost the audio. It's completely gone, or it's just out in the ether somewhere. So if you find it, let me know. But otherwise, I'm just going to do this voiceover and do the best I can. But obviously, if you see that my hand motions aren't keeping up with what I'm talking about, it's because, your girl had some struggle bus. Spoiler alert for later, we'll go through my coloring book that I had printed. But first, I want to get into this sketchbook. It was given to me for Christmas. And I was like, perfect, it's a little bit bigger than the previous one, and I couldn't wait to get into it. So as soon as I finished the other one, I started this one. I also decided after this one that I'm going to start every sketchbook with a Capricorn page because, the year starts and ends with us. We're pretty important. So I did coral, just some coral studies from my first page here with a ballpoint pen. I also decided this entire sketchbook that I would only use ink. I hadn't made that decision just yet. I was kind of going down that road, but I hadn't made the decision yet. So you still see some graphite sketches. Ooh, okay. So this is from a Blue Jackets game that I went to. Me and my friend were actually right up here. You can barely see us above his arm for the game-winning shot, but that is Marchenko and Zach Werenski, and that is the Blue Jackets of Columbus, Ohio. When I don't know what to draw, I draw doors. And then actually over on the right side, that is a creature design workshop. It's a Discord I joined. I should get back into it. I just haven't had the time, but they have a lot of cool prompts and actually a pretty cool community. I think he is on YouTube as well. I cannot remember his name, but I'll try to tag him at some point. But he's got a really cool channel where he just literally just draws random creatures and kind of talks about being creative and just drawing what comes to mind. And then once a month he does a creature design challenge and everybody shares what they make. Calamity J's is a restaurant I met with another fellow Capricorn. That is the dumpster I was parked beside and some more random creatures. So this is actually my favorite episode of Dirty Jobs with Mike Rowe, where he was up at Lake Erie catching the water snakes. If you don't know, you need to watch that episode. It is so funny. But yeah, feel sorry for him. He got bit a few times. Just some random stuff. I mean, literally didn't know what to draw, so I scratched with a pen until something came out. I don't know what any of those are, but they look pretty cool. All right, so there's a picture of the hub right there, just enjoying some screen time after a long, hard day. And then the right side is another creature design month. I basically wrote out, what the description was or the backstory, and then kind of storyboarded it, but I didn't really end up getting inspired. Just some more little animal sketches from the National Geographic book. And then this was just, again, some random stuff. I was kind of having creative block this day, so I just drew what came to mind. Okay, so this is the only graphite, and this is where I decided I was not doing anything except ink in this sketchbook, but I was planning a painting. I kind of wanted to do some value sketching and some boarding I think it's called storyboarding. There might be a different word for it. But basically plan out what type of perspective I wanted to have. I just wanted a really pretty deer painting that I could hang on my wall. And then over here, I did some acrylic paint, basically just some color wheels. You use 3 colors and kind of go from there to decide what your color palette's going to be. And I went with that bottom one and then sketched out with the paint just basically what I wanted my envisioned painting to look like. All right, so again, decided the sketchbook is ink only, and I wanted to do a challenge because I was bored, so I started the 100 heads, and it's supposed to be 100 heads in 10 days. I didn't get that done, but I still learned a ton, and I'm so happy with what I've learned, and you'll see that through the progression of some of these. Now, these were just ballpoint Bic pen. Literally the next day, I cover up these two. I don't remember what I said, but I think I said yikes. But either way, I literally sketched this head, this head, in the same day as the other one on the left. I have no idea what happened, But every once in a while there's a perspective that you just don't understand. So look at the pretty heads, ignore the ugly ones. And I started to get bored with the black and white, and I wanted to try doing some vignettes around the back of basically the heads, just to give it some more structure and some interesting background. I was really happy with this head in particular. I started using the directional lines and hatching, and I feel like it was starting to come together here, but then I wanted the experiment to be over. I'm really not happy with this page. I just wanted to get back to doing what I love, which is shading with the black and white Bic, and yeah, back to what I love. So there is a Pinterest board with all of these references for the 100 Heads Challenge. I think I ended up on some random boards from time to time. Also, there's some sculptures, and I really was not a fan of drawing the sculptures, which I know is a problem. I know that is one of the ways to study as far as shading and lighting goes. So, that's my bad. It's not the sculpture's bad, but I just wasn't really into it. I don't know. They were just so harsh and just not my style, at least not at the time. So started getting bored right here, and then I decided I was done and we were going to do 50 heads in 18 days because your girl works full-time and doesn't have a lot of time. This is actually kind of cute. I did this live, or plein air, or whatever you want to call it. Sketched a guy at my local Firestone while we were both sitting waiting. Thought it turned out pretty good. And then I was so tired of the black and white, all of a sudden I was like, give me color, give me my gel pens and let me paint with them. So I love these mushrooms. This is where I started learning about, what I could do with these gelosity pens. They basically take a minute to dry, so you can almost blend them like paint. And this is kind of where I figured that out and started playing around. I didn't use black in either of these, just blue or green to get to the mixture of the darks. And again, this is actually what I learned in this sketchbook is once you have figured out or learned what you are going to learn from a sketch, just be done with it. You don't have to keep going. Oh, okay. So this was a creature design that I literally, there's the story if you want to pause it, as far as what the reasoning was, but basically a creature that's supposed to help a blind person see. And my brain literally just was like sparking left and right. I came up with what I thought was the cutest idea. I don't know what I ended up calling him. It might be in there. I just can't see it. But I absolutely love what I created. I'm probably going to make a whole little story about him. This is me deciding what head to do, body shape, everything basically about the creature. But I probably am going to have to, there's a little study I was going to do, but again, I just ended up stopping. Little creature study. I thought it was so fun. Got bored, decided to do 2 faces. Wasn't super successful, but I'm also not mad at it. I have no idea what these robots are. And then I looked up dancers because I just wanted to start practicing full body and movement after doing so many heads. So I did some 5-minute, basically warm-up sketches here. And it made such a difference. That's the other thing I've learned with this sketchbook is if I do a couple warm-ups, the next few sketches that I actually take my time with turn out so much better. And again, you don't have to finish everything. I got these portions of these 2 sketches done and I just looked at them and I was like, I don't even want to touch them anymore. I'm super happy with them. I know they're not finished, but it doesn't need to be finished. It's just practice. But super happy with the spread. And again, back to what I love using, which is just the black Bic black Bic pen, excuse me. This was supposed to be Val Kilmer. I love him as Doc Holliday in Tombstone. I think the top right and bottom left are successful, but other than that, you can't really tell who it was, so we moved on. Some Game of Thrones characters, a random seahorse. Okay, so something I can definitely recommend if you are having creative block, just go to a random generator and have it generate 2 different animals for you and create something out of it. That is what I did for these 3 pages. I did them all in the same night. I love the koala crab. I love how he turned out. And then reticulated wolf, I guess, or a reticulated wolf giraffe. I don't know, but he's super cool and I love it. And it got me through the night. Got me into my sketchbook, and that is the point. All right, some random body parts. And according to Waylon, Sylvia, my cat, is just a sack of brown potatoes. That wasn't very nice, so I drew his smooth brain cat as well. Just some creative block again. I get busy. I think this was around the time of year that I was a little bit busy. I hate that picture. That's why I made an X over it. All right, so again, I got back to blending with the gel pens. And for all of these, I put the 2 to 3 or 4 colors to the side that I used. And then, like I said, just blended to get the results. I love the pepper and the onion. Those are my 2 favorite for sure. I love how I was able to get that shine. I kind of lost it with the tomato slice. But very happy with those. Another cool little study. All right. I mean, again, bored over here, not even paying attention to what I was drawing. Kind of a cool little mountainscape, but I wasn't interested in finishing it. I got bored. ADD, whatever you want to call it. So later in the sketchbook, you'll see the finished idea of this, but that was me trying to get an idea of how to do layers with trees. Ooh, okay, we're getting to one of my favorite sections. This is before we left for Key West. Again, that's my husband. Just a couple little couch pillow sessions and a mug that I was drinking out of at the time. And then this is Columbus Airport, and this is where me and my son flew out of to go to the Florida Keys. That is the terminal that we were basically waiting for our first flight in. And then the next one, we were supposed to have another hour and a half, but we only ended up having 20 minutes, so I barely had any time and just sketched one guy. This was Fort Zachary Beach. That was our first beach day. It was so freaking pretty, as you can see from the picture. And this was such a cute day. Like, randomly, just people kept walking by and being so supportive and positive. I mean, it was just one of those art days you just remember, you know. And some more Key West stuff. This amazing Indian dinner that I'll never forget. It was so good. Chickens were everywhere, of course. I snapped that picture and drew it. And then I know that's a hogfish up at the top. They are delicious. And not sure what the little spotted lizard was, but they were also everywhere. Little curly-tailed lizard, I think is what they called them. But yeah, really happy with the details I was able to get with the gel pens again. And then over here, the cat from the Hemingway house, I snapped a picture of it and started to draw it, but, you know, lost interest. Your girl loses interest a lot, but whatever. A couple of sketches of my son. That one was done live at the airport. This one was from a photo of our Cuban coffee run that we did. A little bit of random bird sketching from, I believe, Pinterest. I cannot remember. And then this monkey from National Geographic book. I started loving, it's like a brown tinted gel pen. It's not the black and white Bic, but I mean, just look at the detail you can get. And I loved, again, I could finish this tarantula picture. It'd probably be amazing. Or maybe it's a wolf spider, but I don't want to. I like how it is. Random stuff, bored. Oh, this is where I realized I can't draw hands. So that meant we're going to do 100 hands because your girl needs to get better. So for this, I was a little more specific. Again, all pen, all ink, and I gave myself 5 minutes. If you don't know, there's hundreds apparently of people that do sketching of hands. It's something that's really hard, and it is kind of hard, and I feel like I got a lot better doing this challenge. I didn't do all 100, but again, I kind of switched up techniques. I go to 4 minutes on one page, and you can tell that the struggle was real. But I also think that, I believe I go to red next. Yeah, I go to red next. And you can tell that, I think it was the color here that kind of threw me off. I don't know why, because these are all 4 minutes. And then you can see how much better, sorry about the little middle finger. You can see how much better they get again once I get out of the red. So I think my brain was not reading the red for some reason. Just a random Siamese fighting fish. Didn't want to finish it, but super happy with the detail that I got. And interesting thing to draw. All right, let's see what's next. All right, we all know who that is. And then on the left side here, this was actually out of James Gurney, one of his art books that I bought. I did it to practice perspective, which is still something I struggle with. I just like the way it looped down and the buildings shifted. I think I did a good job of copying what I saw. Oh my gosh, I love this lizard. I'm so I mean, I'm not mad that I didn't finish it. I'm not going to do that to myself, but look how cute and perfect he is. I was so excited. Like, I just could not stop. I think I got to the toenails, and then I thought, I just love what I've done here, and I don't want to touch any more of it. And now I know, apparently, that mushrooms and lizards, I need to do a little series on those, because look at this little mushroom. I freaking love him too. That was done with gel pens on the right, and then just a big ballpoint pen on the left. Love it. Kept going with the gel pens here, and actually the red is a Bic pen, so I kind of mixed it up just to see what the two could do together. And on the right side is kind of a departure for me. I really don't do fantasy stuff normally, but I just was bored and wanted something different, and I love it. Yeah, the detail that it was going to take to get all those head feathers in was not going to happen, but you get the idea, and I was happy with the rest of it. So okay, so here's that tree I mentioned. This was my successful version of what I was going to do earlier. I like the different colors and the way that the shadows play off of what color you're using. So again, just something I was messing around with and got it out of my system and figured it out. So on to the next. This is a little cottage I drew because I was having creative block. I did not want to draw a creature, and I didn't want to use a reference picture. So I just decided to make a little cottage. It's not finished, but I still love it. I think that's my cat Sylvia, I'm not sure. All right, so we're on some Capricorn type shit right here, just so you know. Now this little spread that I did, because again, creative block, I didn't know what to draw, ended up sparking a really cool idea that I'm going to do in the near future. There's a lot going on right now, but it's definitely something that's brewing. But basically looked up each glyph, which is like the sign for what your astrology sign is. I looked up the planet or moon or whatever it was that, ruled you, or whatever they say. And then I looked up what sign was what, like air, water, fire. And I made all these little sketch ideas, like layouts of what I think I want to do. And again, this is something like a project for the future, but it's a cool thing to lay it out in a sketchbook. And again, that's what it's for. This was just me. I really like the idea of doing a series for some reason of bull riding. I feel like the movement and the shading I could do with it would be awesome. So that was me sketching it out. And then my ideas for Inktober, because it's coming up. And then the last little bit of the page. I mean, if you want to pause this and read all that, you can. But I basically didn't know what to draw, but it was the last page. And I was like, let's just do some little inspirational quotes about art and color it in and call it done. And this was September 8th of 2025 is when I finished it. So super happy with everything in it. I don't even care the stuff that I feel like I messed up. Going back through it, it just makes you so proud seeing everything that you got done. All right, like I said, this is something that I figured out after finishing Inktober last year. I did not plan while I was drawing these sketches last year that I was going to do this with it. So that's part of the reason I didn't include every single one. Some of them just really did not transfer well. But basically what I did was took all of those sketches and snapped a picture of them on my iPad, put it in Procreate, and I don't know if there's a better way to do it, but I retraced over everything in the system, and I made this coloring book for, like I said, I was planning on selling it, but yeah, I don't know. I was happy with how it turned out, with the exception of a few things. The few things are, you can see through the pages. They are thicker paper. I think they're 80 pound, because that was the most that I was able to get as far as the weight of the paper. And then me being an idiot, there's that again. I have no idea. I don't remember uploading it twice, but your girl is not a digital artist and a digital person. She can barely make these videos. So like I said, I'm sure it was my fault. I used a company called Print Ninja. I decided to basically customize everything from front to back. I made all of it myself as far as the cover art and everything else. And this is me just kind of testing it out. The markers, I was hoping I would get something that was heavy enough that it wouldn't bleed through, but of course they did. Now, nice thing is though, a little bit later, so big pens, and then also the brown liner on that is a brush pen. So that for some reason didn't bleed through, but the regular markers did. So I'm not sure why. We're still in the test phase, but I used a company named Print Ninja, and they did great. I mean, the people worked with me as far as the layout of everything. I just, trial and error. So again, I was planning on putting these up for sale. I think I still will, but I'm just going to keep playing around in it first to see what I think I want to charge for it, or if I just want it to be something I keep to take with me to maybe like events or something. But thanks so much for tuning in. More to come, and I'll see you soon.